पहले उसके बाद
Good evening, Honorable Chairman, Professor B.P. Singh Sir, Honorable Senior Professor Ajay Kumar Singh Sir, Respected Director Mahesh Sharma Sir, distinguished session speakers, esteemed faculty members, and my dear fellow students. I, Priya Jindal, student of BCom Honors 5th semester, welcomes you all with great pleasure and pride to this 34th online interactive session organized by the Delhi School of Professional Studies and Research, an institution committed to academic excellence and leadership development. Today, we all gathered here for another amazing interaction session where we will learn, seek, and adapt many skills and things which will help us to be a better person professionally. At DSPSR, we believe in creating opportunities that bridge the gap between academic learning and real-world corporate insights. Today's session, Leadership Development, is a testament to this mission. We are confident that this session will empower each one of you with valuable insights and practical strategies to grow as professionals and leaders. DSPSR faculty and students are delighted to have Dr. Gaurav Talan, sir, as session speaker and Ms. Tanisha Tyagi joining us today to share their insight and experiences. We welcome you, sir. Before moving further,
thank you, Priya.
We shall proceed with the lighting of the virtual lamp, a tradition that symbolizes the dispelling of darkness and the awakening of knowledge. May the light of learning continue to guide us on our path and growth and leadership. Now I request Arun sir to play the video. Thank you, sir. It is with great pleasure and privilege that I extend a warm welcome. We are truly honored to be in the presence of a distinguished academic, a passionate educator, and a seasoned industry professional, Dr. Gaurav Taran sir. Dr. Talan sir is currently serving as a faculty member at the University of Management Studies at Guru Gobind Singh Indraprasth University, New Delhi. With over 11 years of academic experience and an impressive 6-year tenure in corporate roles at esteemed organizations like Barclays Bank and American Express, he brings with him a unique blend of scholarly insight and practical wisdom. His contribution to this field of finance, investment management, sustainability, and human values and ethics have been widely recognized both in India and abroad. Dr. Talan sir has published several insightful papers in national and international journals and has presented his research at some of the most respected conferences across the globe. What truly sets him apart, however, in his unwavering commitment to active learning, innovation, and holistic development. His teaching philosophy is deeply rooted in creating an atmosphere of free thinking where knowledge is not just transferred but co created. We are delighted to welcome him to this platform today and will look forward to gaining from his vast experience and, in turn, inspiring perspectives. Please join us, 34th Online Interactive Section. Dr. Gaurav Tilan, sir. Ms. Tanisha Tyagi is currently pursuing her BBA third semester at the Delhi School of Professional Studies and Research. It fills me with immense pride and joy to see a young and dynamic student take on the role of a moderator for today's event. Tanisha, your active engagement and willingness to step forward in this leadership role is truly inspiring. You represent the spirit of initiative and enthusiasm that we hope to see in every student. Your presence here today not only adds energy and freshness to the proceedings, but also set a powerful example for your peers. I'm confident that your voice will guide us through a meaningful and enriching discussions. May your dedication to continue to inspire others to participate, contribute, and lead. Your valuable presence adds great strength to today's event and to all our participants joining us from different places, eager to learn and grow. Once again, I extend welcome to our esteemed speaker, our respected faculty members, and most importantly, all our participants. Your presence here reflects your commitment to learning and personal growth. Let us make this 1 hour session enriching and experienceful. Now, I would like to hand over the session to Ms. Tanisha Tyagi. Please.
Thank you, Priya. Good evening, everyone. So let's start. The very first question that I want to ask to sir, that is, would you like to take us through your journey from being an MBA student at DSPSR to becoming a faculty member at GGSIPU? What were some defining moments in your career path, sir?
Thank you. Thank you, Tanisha, for asking this question. I welcome all the participants. Thank you for having me. I gladly thank everyone, Ajay Kumar sir and Ashita ma'am, Mathura sir, who reached out to me personally on WhatsApp, and everyone who has joined the session. So I am I have a deep association with DSPSR. It's been very long. It's been what 18 years since I was a student in DSPSR, but I'm very proud to be associated with this college. I have some very special memories attached with the college. Apart from the academics, of course, academically, I owe everything to DSPSR. But apart from that, also I made best of my friends here in DSPSR. I still remember the journey, the commute in metro. I mean, metro was still there in 2006 when I joined here as an MBA student. Anyway, so I started my journey in DSPSR as an MBA student in 2006. I suppose that a lot of graduation students, if those students are here as a part of the discussions, you might have been either a very little, very small kids or not even born yet at that age, right? 18 years have passed since then. But in DSPSR, I still remember my first day, and we were supposed to reach at 9 at 9 in the morning. I was here at 8:45. Some of my knowns who had applied in DSPSR and also got through also reached at 8:50, 8:45. It's going to start at 9:50 on 30. Right at 9. Some of the students started to walk in after 9:15, 9:20, and they got an earful from Ajay sir and everyone out there in the team. So that is the first thing that I learned at DSPSR is discipline. And it has helped me immensely throughout my career, be it in academics or in industry, everywhere. Discipline is very important. I still remember my early days, and if Seema ma'am is there, Mathura sir is there, Ajay sir is already here. They would remember in those days we used to wear tie every day. Anybody who used to come at 9:1 or 9:2, even 1 or 2 minutes late in the college, was locked outside of the college. Anybody who had an attendance of less than 80% was not allowed to take an examination. At that point of time, we were kids. I was in early 20s, and I used to think, why is it so important? Why can't these guys chill? I mean, why is it so important to wear ties in the hot summer days? Why is it so important, to value 1 or 2 minutes? Okay, it's fine, I'm 5 minutes late. But then when no, that is aside from the learning, that is aside from the management lesson, foundational understanding that I got in DSPSR in terms of management lesson. That is aside from that. This is a learning which was not there in the textbook. It was not written anywhere in the syllabus that we have to wear the tie. It was not written anywhere in the syllabus that we have to reach at 9 a.m. sharp, otherwise the gates are going to be closed. No, it was not there in the syllabus. These were the values which were inculcated by the college itself. It was an initiative by the college. And when I took my interview in American Express, the question that I was asked in the interview was, and it was a risk management profile. I did my MBA in finance. It was a risk management profile, and one of the questions was, have you ever missed your flight? Like, okay, I'm just a student and I've taken flight only once, but no, I did not miss it. They said, okay, you are someone who has very little experience. I mean, I only had the experience of summer internship. But there were other experienced candidates also, and this was the first questions asked there. And then when I got through, 6 months into the role, I asked my manager, do you remember you asked me this question? Have you ever missed your flight? Why did you ask me this question? Why was it so important? And he said that we do not want people who are not disciplined even in their personal lives. And that is when I remember my journey in DSPSR. It was so important. So it was a defining moment. Learnings apart from what was there in the syllabus, learnings outside the classroom, making friends, mingling with them, spending time in the college. And that is, of course, over and above the foundational, very critical foundational understanding of management that I received there. So that is how I remember DSPSR. Very, very happy to be here again.
Such an you have.
I'm not able to. Sorry, you're not audible, Anisha, this time.
Hello, am I audible now?
Yes, yes, yes. You are audible. You are audible.
So you had a great and inspirational journey.
Oh yes. See, after I graduated from MBA, I joined corporate. I remember that one of the first companies that came to the campus was Parasram Holdings Private Limited. That was a stockbroking firm. I worked in risk management, and that is why, I'm still teaching a subject called risk management after 20 years, after 19 years. You know, so that's where I started my career, and then I got into this very large scale corporation, 150 years old corporation called American Express in risk management. Moved on to Barclays after 4 years, working for 4 years in American Express, also in risk management. So that is how my career revolved around the risk and finance. And then after 6 years, 6 7 years of corporate experience, I turned into academics, and that is where I am right now.
So how did your experience working in industry giants like Barclays Bank, American Express shape your perspective on management and finance? And how has that translated into your teaching?
Right. So the thing is that these are very large corporations. American Express is one of the largest corporations of United States of America, and so is the Barclays Bank, along with other Lloyd, Standard Chartered. Barclays is a very big bank in United Kingdom. Now these companies taught me in the very first days that the world, see, there's a lot of chaos in the world, but there is something called there is something called discipline, financial discipline, otherwise other employees, for human beings to have work-life balance. These are very, I'm not talking about cliche things like bottom line, profit, wealth. All of that is there. I'm not going to discuss about that. I'm going to discuss something beyond that. What is it like to work in an MNC? It's all about discipline. It's all about time management, right? It's also about flexibility. So these are the things, these are the few things and also about these companies, both of these companies taught me enough leadership skills. They gave me enough platform to talk in public places, to address gatherings, large gatherings, small gatherings initially, and then large gatherings, to deliver presentations. They gave me enough space in order to develop my own leadership skills. They taught me that how leadership is all about influence. It is not about the position that you're holding. It is about the influence. Even though I joined as a mere analyst, I joined as a senior analyst in American Express, and later on, I went on to become a manager. But even though I was a senior analyst, it was not about position. It was about the influence that you could make. It was about the change that you could make in the organization. How people who are senior, super seniors to you, they listen to you empathetically. They treat you with passion. They treat you like like you're a part of the system. They don't treat you like you're a mere employee. No, not like that. They treat you like you're an important part of the system. And the values that I gained from that, immense. It helped me, definitely helped me in teaching. Otherwise, my learning curve in the teaching could have been much longer.
Okay, so like you have working like all these long years and you have inspired everyone so much. So what inspired your transition from the corporate world to academia, and how did you manage that shift both mentally and professionally?
See, the thing is that in corporate, when I transition from corporate to academia, there are certain things I definitely miss. Can you just give me a second? Just I apologize for this. Just sorry for that. Okay. See, definitely there's some things that I miss. I'm going to talk about that, but there are some things that I cherish when I moved to academia. So after 6 years of climbing corporate ladder, because I changed three positions in between, I did climb the corporate ladder, both in terms of lateral, job shifts, and also in terms of hierarchy. Now, there was a desire. There was always a deep desire that I could impact the youth. I could, make. I could be a change maker beyond this particular company, beyond this particular system, beyond this particular process, and I could work on long-term solutions in order to drive sustainable which was a student when I was working. Sorry, I thought that I got disconnected. Am I still audible?
Yes, yes, sir, you are
Sir, you're
audible.
audible.
Am I still audible, everyone? Yeah, sorry. Okay.
You're
Now, the
audible.
thing is that when I was student, I'm talking about 2004, 2005. I used to feel very bad. I used to pick it up and throw it in the dustbin myself. So this is something, sustainability is something that I wanted to work on. I started to work on that. I'm still working on that. So yes, that those are the positives. The positive is that I get to inspire the youth. I don't know if I'm able to do that or not, but I at least try to do that. The second thing is that I get to research in the areas I'm passionate about. I try to change the, to be a little bit of change in the world. If my research can be, 0.0001% change maker in that area, I'll consider myself to be lucky. So that is beyond the system or the process that I was working in the corporates. So working in a larger environment, working for a larger cause is something that drove my desire to get into academics. So it's one thing that I miss definitely, and that is the pace at which the corporate system works. If there is a problem and if they want to solve that problem, it's going to take them not months, not weeks, not days, but hours, right? So they do it just like that, quickly. Fatafat say they take decisions, and fatafat say that decision gets implemented. That is something which is missing over here. Of course, I'm missing that. It takes a very long period of time. Sometimes it also gets frustrating, but it is how it is.
Okay, so like you have spent like more than 7 to 8 years in your career. And
Mhm.
then now when you look back, what were some challenges you faced early in your career? Like how did you overcome them?
See, first of all, the thing is that I'm not a very fast learner. That is what the problem is. And now that is a problem in finance because they were very complex systems. Multitasking was something that I was supposed to do. And I did, eventually I did. But then I need time to understand things. I'm not a very, very fast learner like some of my colleagues were. So that is something my learning curve was a little bit stretched. I took some time to learn, but then once I did, I was fine with it. And second thing is, see, there's something called multitasking. Of course, in finance, that is very important. Risk management, you can't function without that. But then it also has some limitations. Sometimes when you multitask, you lose your focus on the key area that you're working upon. That is something which is very important in corporate. And the third thing that I am not very good at. I'm talking about my weaknesses right now and how they got reflected in my performance also. Later on, I also worked upon them. and improved upon them, is met by networking skills, which are very poor. Very important. Without networking skills, not going to reach very far. Trust me, whatever the area is, whatever the whether it is government, whether it is corporate, whether it's your own company, then it's going to be even more important. So networking skills, building a network where you can help people and people can help you, is very important. The world doesn't function without that. It's not a corporate specific thing, not an academic India specific thing. It's a worldwide phenomenon. Can't escape that. You want to grow to become something big, and you have to cultivate that. I learned the lesson hard and I learned the lesson late, but better late than never. Why not?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, that you emphasize that active learning, innovation, and free thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are some practical advice would you give students of these days to cultivate these habits during their academic years? That today's kids are so busy and they are inculcated in so many activities that they don't find time for maintaining and preparing for their things. So, how would they should do that?
No, first of all, I want to ask the students if they're available right now, what are they busy in? That's the first question that I want to ask the students. किस चीज में busy हो भाई? पहले तो यही बता दो किस चीज में busy हो? Busy हैं तो बता दो भाई किस चीज में busy हो? That's the very important thing. See, time management is very important. I'm not saying कि मत देखो Instagram की reels, do not watch videos on YouTube, you should deactivate the Netflix. I'm not going to say that, but you should know how to manage your time. don't help build those don't help those big corporations build their profit on the expense of your own career. ऐसा ना करें please. Instagram, YouTube, Google, Alphabet, all of these are very big corporations. You know what? Every reel that you watch, every video that you watch, you are helping them build their bottom line, their profit, the profitability, their wealth creation, creating wealth for them. What about yourself? What about creating wealth for yourself? What about gaining wisdom yourself? You will have to spend time on that. There is no escape. सीधी सी बात है भैया, उसके बिना काम नहीं चलेगा. अपने लिए समय निकालना ही पड़ेगा. You will have to take time out for that. And I know that I was a student once. I'm still a student. I consider myself a lifelong student. But don't take your do take your syllabus very seriously. आपका जो syllabus है ना, बहुत important है. It has been designed by experts. It has been curated by, reviewed by industry people. This is what the demand of the industry people is. Very important. Don't miss that. Syllabus is all very important. But if you want to excel in life, look beyond the syllabus also. People say that look beyond the syllabus. Practical knowledge is very important. Theoretical knowledge is just like that, doesn't matter. वो कभी काम नहीं आती लाइफ में. लोग कहते हैं ना, आपने सुना होगा कि हम लोगों ने कैलकुलस पढ़ा था ना. कैलकुलस पढ़ा था, डिफरेंशिएशन, इंटीग्रेशन, वो सारी चीजें. We all studied that in mathematics 11th 12th standard also. तो ये बच्चे कहते हैं कि ये तो हमारे काम ही नहीं आती करियर में, ये हमने इतनी पढ़ाई करी, इट इज नेवर यूजफुल. Ask that from a person who is an astronaut, उसके काम आती है. Ask that from a person who is making complex economic model sitting in नीति आयोग, उसके काम आती है. जो क्लर्क बैठा हुआ है कहीं पे किसी कंपनी को, उसके काम नहीं आती. तो आपको पढ़ाया तो उसके लिए गया है ना. You were taught to become a top economist. You were taught to become an astronaut. You were taught to become a top researcher, a top scientist. उसके लिए पढ़ाया गया. अब वो नहीं बने अगर आप, तो वो नॉलेज नहीं आई, वो आपके काम. वो नॉलेज तो ठीक थी, नॉलेज के अंदर कोई प्रॉब्लम थी. तो आई एम एम्फसाइजिंग अगेन एंड अगेन, योर सिलेबस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. एक एक चीज आपके काम आने वाली है जो आपके सिलेबस के अंदर लिखा हुआ है. Now this is contrary to common knowledge, I told you, but I also gave you the logic why is it important, right? Also, try to connect your syllabus with the headlines. What is happening in the world? Your newspaper is very important. Don't look at Aaj Tak. I should not take names of any brand, but Aaj Tak, ABP, all of these news channels, all of these are headline grabbers. All of these channels are going to show you astrology and whatnot. वो सुबह सुबह शुरू हो जाते हैं और किसी एक न्यूज को पकड़ के उसके पीछे पड़ जाते हैं, किसी एक सेलिब्रिटी के पीछे पड़ जाते हैं. दैट इज नॉट न्यूज. Sorry, that is not news. Look at what is happening in the world of economics. Look at what is happening in the world of geopolitics, and look at what is written in your syllabus. एक पॉइंट पे हो गया आपका सिलेबस, योर थियोरेटिकल नॉलेज. एक पॉइंट पे हो गया जियोपॉलिटिक्स. what is happening in the politics around the world. एक point पे हो गया economics and the world of finance, और इनको पकड़ के ना triangle बना दो. All of these things are connected. Understand that. एक चीज पढ़ोगे दूसरी चीज अपने आप समझ में आने लग जाएगी, और तीसरी दो पढ़ ली तो तीसरी तो अपन बिना पढ़े ही समझ में आ जाएगी. All of these things are connected. Learn to connect the dots in your life. Learn to establish relationship between things. Learn to connect the theory with whatever practical things are happening in life. Also, apart from that, you're encouraged. I always encourage people to participate in sports. स्पोर्ट्स में भैया जरूर पार्टिसिपेट करो, चाहे क्रिकेट खेलो, चाहे फुटबॉल खेलो, चाहे मतलब आउटडोर स्पोर्ट्स. ऑफ कोर्स आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू आस्किंग यू टू प्ले वीडियो गेम्स एट होम, है ना. बाहर निकलो, पार्क में जाओ और कुछ खेलो. इज गोइंग टू टीच यू डिसिप्लिन, इज गोइंग टू टीच यू एंगर मैनेजमेंट, इज गोइंग टू बिल्ड योर हेल्थ. वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. दैट्स आल्सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग.
Okay, so a person who has rich experience in both, like corporate and academic settings, how do you think management? How do you think that management education need to evolve to meet current industry demands?
See, current industry demand right now is all about interdisciplinary knowledge. Let's talk about a typical bank. एक बैंक कैसे काम करता है? एक बैंक, what is a bank? Is it a financial institution or is it a technological hub? क्या बैंक टेक्नोलॉजी पे रन करता है या फाइनेंस पे रन करता है? टेल मी. It runs on both. It runs on both, right? A bank which is devoid of technology, nobody is going to put money in that. कोई बैंक में जाके पैसा आके वहां पासबुक चेक करा के चेक पे कोई ट्रांजैक्शन नहीं करता. नो यूथ डज दैट, राइट? एंड फाइनेंस ऑफ कोर्स इज द बेसिक ऑफ बैंक. सो interdisciplinary knowledge is very important. And interdisciplinary, I don't mean academic and corporate, that is fine, but having knowledge, you should be having. My advice to the student is कि जो आपका एरिया है उसके तो मास्टर बन जाओ किसी ना किसी तरीके से. वट एवर योर एरिया इज. अब बीकॉम के स्टूडेंट है, बीएससी के स्टूडेंट है, या फिर बीटेक के स्टूडेंट है, यू शुड बी मास्टर ऑफ योर ओन एरिया. बट डोंट हैव दोज, जो घोड़ा लगाता है ना अपनी आंखों के सामने, डोंट हैव दोज फ्लैप्स. डोंट इग्नोर द अदर डिसिप्लिन्स. फाइनेंस के स्टूडेंट्स हैं तो यू शुड बी नोइंग समथिंग अबाउट द टेक्नोलॉजी. टेक्नोलॉजी के बीटेक के स्टूडेंट्स हैं तो यू शुड बी नोइंग समथिंग अबाउट द मार्केटिंग. मार्केटिंग के स्टूडेंट्स हैं तो यू शुड बी नोइंग दैट हु इज फंडिंग दिस. एडवर्टाइजिंग के स्टूडेंट्स हैं तो यू शुड बी नोइंग अबाउट साइकोलॉजी. बिना साइकोलॉजी के कैसे एडवर्टाइजमेंट बनाओगे भाई, राइट? सो यू शुड बी मास्टर ऑफ योर ओन एरिया. ट्राई टू बिकम. नोबडी कैन बी, ऑफ कोर्स, immediately nobody can become a master. I certainly am not a master of my area, I acknowledge that, but I'm learning constantly. That is what I want to call one of my qualities, that I like to learn constantly. But this is very important, interdisciplinary knowledge. और जो दूसरी चीज है कि never ignore the power of the soft skills. The world functions on communication, be it a written communication or oral communication. आपको रिटर्न कम्युनिकेशन में चैट जीपीटी हेल्प कर देगा, बढ़िया से कर देगा, ओरल में तो नहीं कर पाएगा. The sitting in the front of an interviewer, where the interviewer is asking you question for 1 hour constantly, ChatGPT is not going to help you there. Sorry, right? Your confidence is going to be built only if you read, only if you learn to communicate. तो अपना जो सॉफ्ट स्किल्स है, जो आपकी फ्लुएंसी है, कमांड ओवर योर ओन लैंग्वेज एंड ऑल्सो कमांड ओवर द इंग्लिश, बिकॉज दैट इज द लैंग्वेज ऑफ द बिजनेस, वो थोड़ा सा बनाइए और अपने एरिया के मास्टर बनिए. और इंटरडिसिप्लिनरी बाकी के, बी क्यूरियस अबाउट थिंग्स, व्हाट इज हैपनिंग. कैसे एक प्लेन उड़ता कैसे है पता होना चाहिए, राइट? एक कार के अंदर कितनी तरीके के इंजन आते हैं पता होना चाहिए. एज अ फाइनेंस स्टूडेंट बता रहा हूँ मैं ये सारी बातें, ठीक है? बाढ़ बाढ़ आती है तो उसके क्या नुकसान है और क्या फायदे हैं पता होना चाहिए. लोग कैसे इफेक्ट होते हैं उस एरिया के. अगर अगर एक फसल खराब हो जाती है तो किसान को क्या दर्द होता है, वो सारी बातें पता होनी चाहिए. बी कनेक्टेड टू द वर्ल्ड अराउंड यू is one of the advices that I would like to give.
Okay, so that, like you said, that you should be master of your own field and should also be curious about other fields as well. So,
Right.
what the key skills do you believe in MBA students should focus on developing right now to remain relevant and competitive in the next 5 to 10 years? Like, there are so many students who are willing to do MBA.
Mm-hmm. See, one of the important, apart from the soft skills that I'm not going to repeat about that, very, very important, learn to communicate, learn to build your network, is very important. Subject knowledge, of course, I'm also not going to repeat that. Already told you. But a couple of things that I want to add to what I've already said is visualization of data. The thing is, there are many complex systems running around us. You're going to come across many complex mathematical things, many complex analytical things, analysis. वो सारा आपको समझ में आएगा. But how easily can you simplify it? Can you explain it to someone who doesn't understand these things? If you have the ability to explain complex things easily to the other person, then you are half a leader already. आप ऑलरेडी हाफ अ लीटर बन गए हैं. आप आपको जो जो इंटरव्यू वाला है वो आपको सबसे पहले आपको सेलेक्ट कर लेगा. इफ यू आर एबल टू एक्सप्लेन कॉम्प्लेक्स थिंग्स इन सिंपल वर्ड्स, जो चीज जिसको समझ में नहीं आती वो समझाने का आपको उतना होना चाहिए, राइट? ऑल्सो यू फॉर दैट यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट. इफ यू डू नॉट अंडरस्टैंड इट योर सेल्फ, अगर आपका आपका अपना सिलेबस अपना सब्जेक्ट आपको खुद समझ में नहीं आता तो आपको उसे नहीं समझा सकते. उसके लिए आपको खुद उसको अच्छे से समझना पड़ेगा. Second thing, very important thing that you should be able to understand is you should be able to negotiate, you should be able to tell stories. Negotiation, हम लोग समझते हैं कि negotiation तो एक marketing का concept है. ऐसा नहीं है भैया, negotiation finance का concept भी है. ठीक है, but without negotiation, अभी इंडिया यूएस ट्रेड डील होने वाली है. इंटरिम ट्रेड डील है वो, जो भी है. It is an interim trade deal before those dreaded 90 days get over and the tariffs are back. You can't imagine what type of negotiation is happening over there right now in United States of America, right from our Jaishankar sir and everyone, finance minister. Everyone is out there negotiating. Everyone is telling their own point of view, and everyone is telling their own story, right? And the third thing that I want to focus upon is that cross-functional collaboration is very important. You as a student of MBA, I know that there are different functions. For example, finance is there, marketing is there, HR is there, operations is there, IT is there, international business is there, right? All of these are functions, but you cannot work you cannot work in any function in isolation. There is no finance if there is no proper marketing. There is nothing if the HR system of an organization is bad. Of course, finance is the blood of any organization, but all of these combine together and they form an organization. How do they sync with each other? How effectively they work with each other? How well oiled the system is? Understanding that is very important.
Okay. Sir, for a person, there are two things that are mandatory: academic learning and acquiring practicals for it, so that they can, so that they can enhance their journey or growth. So, how can students strike the right balance between academic learning and acquiring practical hands-on experience during their MBA program?
See, the students of MBA program, first of all, they have a certain limitation कि उनको 8 घंटा क्लास करना पड़ता है. उसके अलावा 2 घंटे ट्रैवलिंग में निकल जाते हैं. उसके बाद तो नेटफ्लिक्स वगैरह देखना, रील देखना भी मैंडेटरी आजकल हो गया है. वो जरूरी है वो सारी चीजें. बट माय एडवाइस टू द स्टूडेंट्स इज दैट ऑल्सो लुक फॉर लाइव प्रोजेक्ट्स. बहुत सारे ऑनलाइन लाइव प्रोजेक्ट्स चलते रहते हैं, है ना. यू हैव टू ब्रिंग इन योर रिसर्च योर इंटरनेट पे जो सर्च करने वाला स्किल इनटू प्ले इन ऑर्डर टू डू दैट. जो लाइव प्रोजेक्ट्स चल रहे होते हैं ना मार्केट के अंदर, सम आर पेड, सम आर अनपेड. एंड इफ यू गेट टाइम अपार्ट फ्रॉम द समर इंटर्नशिप उसको बहुत सीरियसली लेना. नो स्टूडेंट, आई डोंट लाइक स्टूडेंट्स जो समर इंटर्नशिप में कुछ काम नहीं करते और लास्ट में रिपोर्ट बना के ले आते हैं कि हमने समर इंटर्नशिप किया है. किसी का नुकसान नहीं किया, हमारा तो बिल्कुल भी नहीं किया, अपना किया है. दैट वॉज एन अपॉर्चुनिटी गिवन टू यू. दैट वॉज एन अपॉर्चुनिटी गिवन टू यू टू लर्न प्रैक्टिकली. मेक यूज ऑफ इट. उसके अलावा जो बाकी का आपका साल है, अगर आपको लगता है कि थोड़ा बहुत 2-3 घंटे दिन में निकाल सकते हैं, तो डू लुक एट लाइव प्रोजेक्ट्स, डू वॉलंटियर. इफ देर इज एन एनजीओ अराउंड योर होम, जहाँ पे एनजीओ वालों के पास वैसे उतने पैसे होते नहीं है, तो डोंट लुक एट कॉम्पेंसेशन, बट कैन यू वॉलंटियर, गोइंग टू लर्न अ लॉट एंड यू विल बी, इट्स गोइंग टू बी अ नोबल कॉज टू वर्क फॉर एन एनजीओ. और आपका जो अपना कोई तो जानवर प्रेमी हो सकता है. देयर कैन बी सम एनिमल लवर, देयर कैन बी समवन हु लाइक टू वर्क फॉर द नेचर, there can be someone who is into gender equality. जो भी आपका है, whatever your passion is, उसकी एनजीओ में जाएं, वॉलंटियर करें, पार्ट टाइम कुछ कर सकते हैं उनके लिए तो प्लीज अगर आप फाइनेंस में है तो उनके लिए अगर कुछ फाइनेंस में उनकी हेल्प कर, फाइनेंस में मतलब कि उनका ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में, फाइनेंस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में कुछ हेल्प कर सकते हैं तो वो करिए. इफ यू आर इनटू मार्केटिंग, तो कैन यू टेल दियर स्टोरी बेटर टू रेस्ट ऑफ द वर्ल्ड, कैन यू डू दैट? तो ऑफर इज द वर्ड दैट आई वांट टू से ओवर हियर. लाइव प्रोजेक्ट्स हो गया, इंटर्नशिप्स हो गया, एनजीओज हो गया, ऑफर योर सर्विसेज, and that is how you're going to build a profile for yourself. It's not only going to help those organizations, it's going to help your skills, and also it's going to be like a star on your resume, going to look very good on your resume.
Okay, so your research spans across finance, investment management, and sustainability. So, how do you integrate these diverse but interconnected areas in your academic work, and why do they matter today more than ever? Why they are so like in range nowadays?
देखो finance, when I was a student and I started to learn commerce in school, finance was all about profit, कि भैया business को profit हो जाए बस. And later on it changed, right? Later on, I mean, some transition happened in 60s and 70s across the world, लेकिन हमारे syllabus में आते आते समय लगा. So when I was a student of MBA, I learned at that point of time that it's not about just profit, it is also about wealth creation. Sometimes the companies have to forego their profits, they have to let go of their profits. Uber didn't want to be profitable for a very long period of time because they wanted to gain market share, and that is how they created wealth for the long term. But now in 2025, even that is an outdated concept. अभी प्रॉफिट तो बिल्कुल ही आउटडेटेड है, वेल्थ भी आउटडेटेड है. अच्छा, विदाउट वेल्थ तो कॉर्पोरेशन काम नहीं करेगी. What should be added to it? And that is sustainability. Sustainability and finance are not two different topics. Sustainability right now is integral to finance. आप लोगों ने पता नहीं, आप स्टूडेंट्स हैं, आई अंडरस्टैंड, बट आई डोंट नो इफ यू गाइस हैव heard about this news, which is from 2 years ago. Top 1000 companies of listed in National Stock Exchange in India, right, have to mandatorily present their ESG rating. ESG matlab E is for environment, S is for society, and G is for governance. That is sustainability intertwined into finance. So right now, government is also saying that you change your bottom line. The bottom line is not only profit, but it is also about sustainability. So this is the area, this is the right area to research into if you want to get into finance right now. उतना तो कम से कम हर कंपनी को भी करना पड़ेगा और हर रिसर्चर को भी करना पड़ेगा. That's the bare minimum.
Okay, okay. For students who are interested in pursuing research, especially in finance and sustainability, what are some emerging trends or topics they should consider exploring?
See, what you can explore the alternate sources of finance. मतलब traditionally, what are the sources of finance? हम लोग equity के through पैसा raise कर सकते हैं. We can raise money through equity. We can raise money through taking debt. We can through bank loans or public debt. Right? Those were the preference share, of course. Those were the traditional sources of finance. But now the world is very different, and the world has changed a lot tremendously in the last 10 years. 20 साल पहले की दुनिया, 15 साल पहले की दुनिया और अभी की दुनिया in terms of finance is very different. There's something called green bonds, which work like traditional debt, but it has traits of its own. The money has to be invested into projects which are sustainable, environmentally viable, sustainable. You can look at the behavioral aspect in finance, that how all people are not rational, even though theory says that people are rational, but how all people are not rational, how people take irrational decisions, how people are emotionally driven, how those, emotional intelligence, some log sunte hain aajkal, IQ and EQ, right? I hope that every student has at least studied something about that. So how people are emotionally driven and how they get, incur losses when they leave their rationality behind is something that you can study. You can study the linkage between climate change and finance, that how not about acquiring finance, but also about investing finance, how companies, corporations, and also individuals can put their finance to good use by earning good returns and simultaneously also helping to mitigate the climate risk. That is also something that you can study. And if there is a student with a BTech background and also doing MBA, ऐसा अगर कोई बच्चा है, तो भैया आप फिनटेक को मत छोड़ना प्लीज. Earlier it used to be a very weird combination. When I was a student, तो पूछते थे बीटेक करके एमबीए कोई कौन करता है. थ्री इडियट्स भी एक मूवी थी in which this question was asked, why are you doing MBA if you have already done BTech? But now it's interconnected. It has suddenly become interconnected. I told you an example of bank. I can tell you an example of all non-banking finance companies, all credit rating agencies, right? All the systems are AI driven. All the systems are, there is no finance company in the world right now which doesn't have a technological footprint, right? So PTech and MBA right now is a very good combination. अगर वो combination है तो fintech का पीछा मत छोड़ना. Fintech के अंदर जरूर fintech मतलब finance and technology combined together. जरूर उसमें research करना is what my suggestion would be.
Okay. Sir, can you share research project or paper that you're particularly proud of and what impact it had either academically or socially?
See, I'm going to talk about my PhD topic, and that my PhD topic that I completed in 2022 was an alternate framework to ESG. So I'm just going to explain it in a very, very briefly. ESG, again, I'm going to repeat it, means environment, society, and governance. And ESG framework means that what a particular company or a corporation is doing for all of these things. So if there is a corporation who is working for profit, is it also harming the environment in the way? What is it doing for the society around it? And what is the status of its own corporate governance? That is something that the government is concerned about. That is something that everyone is concerned about. Right now, the company management is also concerned about that. Environment, society, and governance. My framework that did in PhD, and from that I also have a few papers published in reputed journals. Can there be an alternate to this framework? Because ESG is very, very, rigid, or very rigid framework. E, S, and G. These three things were not interconnected. So my framework talked about the stakeholders. And the stakeholders of business, who can be the stakeholders of the business? Stakeholders of the business can be the management of the business, employees of the business, customers of the business, environment can be one of the stakeholders, the society around us can be one of the stakeholders, employees can be stakeholders. Nobody talks about employees, right? Families of the employees are stakeholders. When an employee is asked to move from one city to another very frequently, it is the family that suffers. Nobody talks about the families, right? So I did help build a framework which talks about all of these stakeholders together, which is right, starting from the individual. Individual can be the customer, it can be the employee, it can be the manager, it can be the government servant who is monitoring the things, and anybody. Then from individual we move on to the families. A group of individual, of course, is called a family, and a group of families is called society. And then society is seen as a part of nature. If human beings do not keep themselves as a part of the nature, अगर हम लोग बोलें कि हाँ भैया हमने 4 पेड़ लगा दिए तो हम नेचर की भलाई कर रहे हैं, अगर ऐसे देखेंगे तो गड़बड़ है. अगर हम बोलेंगे हमने 4 पेड़ लगा दिए हम अपनी भलाई कर रहे हैं, तो then it makes sense. Humans are going to be more motivated to care about nature if they see themselves as a part of nature. अपने आप को नेचर से अलग रख के नहीं देख सकते, right? So ESG and G में ये छोटी सी प्रॉब्लम थी कि these were the three pillars which are disassociated with themselves. Society was not a part of the nature, and we propose that society is a part of the nature, and then only the impact of the business, if they work upon sustainability, is going to be even greater. So this is the project I'm really proud on. I'm not abandoning that after my PhD. I'm still working upon it.
I'm glad to hear that, sir. Your research spans across finance, investment management, and sustainability. So, how do you integrate these diverse? But hello, am I audible?
Yeah, please tell me.
So, you have done this paperwork. So, having guided in many students over the years, what are common mistakes you see young professionals making early in their careers, and how can they avoid them?
See, when I was a student myself, I was very tempted to work in big brands. शुरू से मेरा सपना था कि बड़े बड़े ब्रांड्स के अंदर जाके काम करना है, no matter what the profile is. Stop chasing brands right now. The thing is that was a very different world. 1990 के बाद, after 1990, some liberalization happened, and it took 10 years, 15 years for some foreign companies to arrive in India, and it was a very fascination कि यार foreign company में काम करना है, MNC के अंदर काम करना है. Right now, the startups are also doing very well. There are certain startups which are doing good job, tremendously good job. There are certain NGOs that have left the MNCs behind, right? So don't chase the brands is one of the common mistakes that the students make. It's a different world. In 2006, my advice could have been different, but right now it's different. Chase the roles that you really want to be in. Be very focused on what do you want to do and start your career with that role. छोटी कंपनी है कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, but do what you are passionate about. उसके वो उस एरिया के अंदर काम करो. ऐसे मत सोचो कि यार इस कंपनी में काम करना है, कुछ भी मिल जाए. ऐसे नहीं. Then you're going to regret that decision after 10 years when you're not enjoying your work. छोटी कंपनी में काम करो बेशक से, but do the do get into the role that you want to do. Second advice is going to be that don't ignore the soft skills. I'm going to repeat it again and again. Build your soft skills while you still have time. 1.5 साल 2 साल है अगर पास आउट करने के अंदर, तो यू हैव इनफ टाइम राइट नाउ. स्टार्ट बिल्डिंग योर सॉफ्ट स्किल्स. उसके बहुत सारे तरीके हैं, आप पूछ लीजिए इंटरनेट से, इंटरनेट आपको बता देगा हाउ टू बिल्ड योर सॉफ्ट स्किल्स. इट आई कैन गिव यू अ शॉर्ट ब्रीफ. इट requires an interplay of listening, speaking, and reading. All of these three things together. Start doing that right now. And don't underestimate networking. Build your networks. Build your networks as early as possible. Going to help you big time. And then be humble. Don't boast about whatever your qualities are. You can tell them subtly, but don't boast about them. Be humble. Be curious. Be always ready to learn new things. Nobody in the world is a master of anything. Everyone is a learner. We कहते हैं लाइफ बहुत लंबी है, लाइफ बहुत छोटी भी है. It's not a very big life to, it's a life where we can be constant learner. We can be learner forever until that last day.
Okay, so like we all should follow our role, or we should all be passionate about role. So, what role has mentorship played in your life? Like, what the main role that you have got, and it was like a mentor to you?
So
And
there,
how can students identify and build meaningful relationships with mentors?
so see, I'll talk about mentors, and I'm going to talk about one of my mentors, right? एक मेंटर की बात करूंगा, जिन जो मेरे, मैं बोलूंगा कि लाइफ के पहले मेंटर थे. क्योंकि स्कूल के अंदर तो हम लोग ऐसे ही थोड़े से स्टूडेंट्स, मतलब मेंटरशिप मिली, टीचर्स से गाइडेंस मिली, सब कुछ. द टीचर्स वर गुड, and we did get guidance from our teachers, but one-to-one attention we never got in the school. So first one-to-one attention when I got to interact with my teacher, and one teacher who sat with me for hours and tried to understand me, was Dr. Himanshu. You guys know him or not, because अभी वो मूव ऑन करके कॉर्पोरेट में. नाउ ही इज वन इंडिविजुअल हु मूव्ड ऑन फ्रॉम एकेडमिक्स टू कॉर्पोरेट. आई एम समवन हु इज मूव्ड फ्रॉम very at a very senior position right now. तो वो मेरे mentor थे, and I'm going to tell you what he taught me. He helped me when I was emotionally low. He helped me when I was very doubtful about my career. I was very doubtful about my personality. He told me that it's fine. Every 22-year student is like that only, and you are better than many people. You have these strengths and these weaknesses. Try to get rid of your weaknesses and try to build on your strengths. इतनी सी बात बताने वाला एक इंसान चाहिए होता है बस. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है कि मेंटर कोई ऐसी आसमान से तारे तोड़ के आपके सामने रख देगा. वो बस आपको रियलिटी चेक दे देता है. That mentor gives you a reality check, and that mentors help you realize your own potential. तो हिमांशु सर ने मेरे लिए वो किया पर्सनली, एंड आई एम स्टिल इन टच विद हिम. 18 साल हो गए सर से मिले हुए. आई एम स्टिल इन टच विद हिम. उनसे फोन पे व्हाट्सएप पे बात होती रहती है. So I encourage students to seek mentors. If you come across a person who is ready to help, then please do not hesitate to take help. Share your challenges, seek support. It is definitely going to help you.
Okay, that's all from my side, sir. Thank you so much for your valuable knowledge and insights. Today, you shared such a knowledgeable and interactive session that we all need. Thank you so much.
थैंक यू तनीषा. मैं अभी मथुरा जी का मैसेज आया है कि आप DSPSR के विद्यार्थी रहे और इस समय इंद्रप्रस्थ विश्वविद्यालय में हैं, और हम सौभाग्य समझते हैं. मथुरा जी, हम भी सौभाग्य समझते हैं कि आपके साथ दोबारा जुड़ने का मौका मिला. धन्यवाद आपको भी. Thank you, thank you, thank you, everyone. Thank you,
Thank you
Ajay
so
sir,
much, sir,
for
for
having me.
joining us today. Now I request to Hardik Mehta to deliver the vote of
Tanisha,
thanks.
I think instead of terminating the session, we still have 9 minutes. Can we open the forum for audience to ask any questions if they have?
Of course, of course.
So one question I have for you, Dr. Saab, Dr. Gaurav.
Sir, sir.
If we compare foreign universities with Indian universities, comparable, like, okay, there people do authentic research on corporates,
Mhm.
advise theories, teach to the students. A person a professor who is of biology goes to sea, tries to find out species which are available. A person who is a student of geology, who is a teacher of geology, go to geographically challenging areas, does some practical research, converts that into knowledge, and that is imparted
Mhm.
to the students. Vis-a-vis Indian universities, where all what is imparted is academics, reading of books, and dissemination of books. Teachers hardly move out of their good offices, go to market, do their own research, convert that into something meaningful, and give it back to the students. Um, why so in the when education system is the same across the world, all over British colonies, why this difference has crept in between India and US?
Sir, I just want to make 2 points regarding this. One was the education system that we, inherited from the British was not the education system that they had for themselves. For themselves, they had a system to create managers, to create leaders, and for us, they had the system to create clerks. And unfortunately, for a very long period of time, we carried on with that system. We tagged along with that system, and we focused on the marks. We focused on, on rote learning. We focused on, just just remembering things, and that is what the major problem was. Whether a student is able to remember the things that he or she has learned in the class was the major problem. We did not look at the applicability. Our classrooms were devoid of practical experiences. Our classroom was rooms were devoid of, putting the knowledge into use. That is what the problem. I hope that the new education policy or national education policy that we call it right now is going to make some change in that regard. The second point that I want to make is that this is not Indian universities versus foreign universities, because in India also we have pretty good universities now. Look at the QS rankings that we have recently got, and I'm very proud to share that even IP University is in 1000 top 1000 universities across the world now. We got this ranking just 10 days back. So we are in top 1000 universities across the world. But we have good universities in India, and there are a large number of bogus universities in the United States of America also. For that, the mathematics is pretty simple. The thing is that there are going to be brilliant students across the world. There will be average students, and there will be poor students, right? And in order to, create create a university or create an ecosystem where you have the brilliant students combined together, you either will have to make the entry difficult or you will have to make the exit difficult. You can't have both the things easy and have a good institution running. या तो एंट्री डिफिकल्ट बनाना पड़ेगा या एग्जिट डिफिकल्ट बनाना पड़ेगा. आईआईएम्स में एंट्री डिफिकल्ट है. द एंट्री इज डिफिकल्ट इन आईआईएम्स. चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट में एग्जिट डिफिकल्ट है. एनीबडी कैन टेक एडमिशन इनटू सीए, बट कैन एवरीवन पास सीए, राइट? या इन दोनों को तो एक को तो मुश्किल बनाओगे ना सर. दोनों को इजी रखेंगे तो सर गड़बड़ है. फिर आपका आपका यूनिवर्सिटी में एंट्री भी इजी है और एग्जिट भी इजी है, तो फिर नहीं करेगा बच्चा मेहनत. इट्स वेरी ह्यूमन नेचर. स्टूडेंट इज नॉट गोइंग टू वर्क हार्ड जब उसको पता है कि ऐसे ही पास हो जाएंगे. तो दे हैव टू रियलाइज दैट आल्सो.
What are your thoughts on commercialization of education? Is it good,
Commercialization
bad,
of
ugly,
education is the
very
reality.
nice, very good, very bad? What is it?
Sir, commercialization of education, first of all, is a reality. Before I come on to the judgment of that, it is a reality, and we all have to face that. The thing is that the budget that was assigned to education earlier, that is not the case, and that is also not going to be the case in the times to come. And yes, I'm not in a favor of that. Quite honestly, if you ask me, I think that there are two basic things that is the right of every individual, उसको वो मिल जाना चाहिए, जो कि है हेल्थ ऑफ एजुकेशन, हेल्थ और एजुकेशन. उसके अलावा हर चीज को कमर्शलाइज कर दो, आई एम इन फेवर ऑफ दैट, आई डोंट माइंड दैट. लेकिन कम से कम अच्छी शिक्षा दे दो और अच्छी हेल्थ दे दो, बाकी चीजें इंसान को खुद करने दो, अपने बूते पे करने
केजरीवाल ने यही किया था, हार गया.
दो.
उसने दो ही चीज ठीक की थी, हेल्थ और एजुकेशन, दोनों,
चलो सर.
एंड ही लॉस्ट.
Hi, Gaurav, this
पता नहीं
is
सर,
Sunil.
कहने वो सर.
आप ही ने कहा ना
Gaurav, can you hear
लिटरली
me?
सोचो, स्ट्रीम से
सर
हटके सोचो, कनेक्ट करो डॉट्स को. तो मैंने जरा
हाँ
डॉट्स
नहीं,
कनेक्ट किए हैं,
हाँ नहीं
और
ठीक
अभी
है,
की बात.
आपके सारे क्वेश्चंस वैलिड है सर. थोड़े से पॉलिटिकल हो गए वो बात अलग है, बट यस इट्स अ वैलिड क्वेश्चन. बट यस आई आई आल्सो फील द सेम कि कम से कम ये दो बेसिक राइट तो हर हर इंसान को मिल जानी चाहिए, इररिस्पेक्ट ऑफ व्हाट द फाइनेंशियल बैकग्राउंड इज. क्योंकि आपको भी पता है कि हाउ डिफिकल्ट इट इज टू गेट द एजुकेशन लोन, और कभी कभी क्या होता है कि पीपल आल्सो कंप्लीट देयर एजुकेशन एंड स्टिल दे आर नॉट एबल टू पे द लोन्स बिकॉज दे डोंट गेट लैंड अप इनटू द गुड जॉब्स. डिग्री तो ले लेते हैं लेकिन जॉब नहीं मिल पाती है. तो वहां पे ये कमर्शलाइज जो एजुकेशन जो है ना, वो दो धारी तलवार बन जाती है. ऑन वन हैंड यू डिड नॉट लैंड अप इनटू द जॉब दैट यू आर ड्रीमिंग फॉर, एंड दूसरी तरफ आपके ऊपर लोन और चढ़ गया 10 लाख रुपए का. बताओ सर कैसे. तो दीज आर द प्रैक्टिकल प्रॉब्लम्स सर अकॉर्डिंग टू मी.
Professor Sunil
Hi,
Maheshwari
Gaurav.
from US has also joined. If he has a
Hi,
question
Gaurav.
or any observation, please.
नमस्कार सर.
Yeah. नमस्कार जी गौरव जी, थैंक यू वेरी मच. अच्छा, अभी अभी आपने अपना जो ESG का फ्रेमवर्क का बात किया,
जी सर.
वो आपने इंटीग्रेट किया, मुझे समझ में आया. आई लाइक दैट पॉइंट. लेकिन अभी पहले एक चीज तो ये है कि आजकल जो ESG के इंडाइसेस जो वर्ल्ड ओवर बन रहे हैं, क्या उस इंडाइसेस को भी मॉडिफाई किया जा सकता है क्या?
सर वो मेरा जो मॉडल था, द मॉडल दैट आई हैड प्रपोज्ड वाज एक्चुअली अबाउट दैट ओनली, दैट द इंडेक्स दैट द ईएसजी हैज नीड्स सर्टेन ट्वीकिंग. उसके अंदर थोड़ा सा जो जरूरत है ट्वीकिंग करने का. और क्वाइट ऑनेस्टली व्हेन आई स्टार्टेड माय पीएचडी इन 2016, राइट, आई टुक 5 years टू कंप्लीट माय पीएचडी. तो उन 5 सालों में दुनिया बदल चुकी थी. In 2016, ESG was a rising force. Every company voluntarily wanted to, present ESG rating. Every ESG mutual fund was taking over. Every pension fund across the world, every hedge fund across the world was interested into ESG based companies. Right now, it's not so anymore. 2023, 24, 25 के अंदर अगर आप डेटा देखोगे तो पेंशन फंड्स हो गए, हेज फंड्स हो गए, भाग रहे हैं ESG से दूर. They now again are back at chasing wealth and profitability. Now they are not looking at companies. People are also fed up of ESG. उनको लगता है कि रिटर्न्स पे कॉम्प्रोमाइज है. They think that there is a little bit of compromise on the financial return. That is something that everyone is aware about. But the thing is that if we tweak it a little bit more, and if we make an investor a part of that system, if we can make all the stakeholders are part of the system, all the stakeholders important, then और लोगों को कुछ ये realize हो जाए कि without these ratings the companies are not going to survive for very long. It is not only important for their interim profitability, but it is also important for the survivability of a company. एक कंपनी जो कोयला जला जला के बिजनेस कर रही है, a company which is ignoring environment and only focusing on profitability is not going to survive for long in today's environment. So there are certain aspects, for example, जैसे मैंने आपको बताया फैमिली वाला एस्पेक्ट. इंडिया के अंदर फैमिलीज आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. स्टेबिलिटी of an individual in a particular company for a long period of time after a certain point is very important. India के अंदर it is, the culture is very important, the language is very important. People talk about language, people talk about a certain regionality. वो थोड़ा सा important. If that aspect can somehow be inculcated into ESG framework, a little bit of tweaking, maybe people will be more receptive about them. अभी लोगों को डिस्कनेक्ट लगता है ESG से, quite honestly. Investors are not interested into ESG.
इसे दूसरा आपने बात किया कि जो चेंजेस हो रहे हैं, यस चेंजेस हो रहे हैं, हम यहाँ देख रहे हैं चेंजेस हो रहे हैं बहुत ज्यादा. अब जैसे हम सब लोग फाइनेंस की आज बात कर रहे हैं, ये जो हमारे जो अब हम कह रहे हैं कि वो फाइनेंस में जो हम पढ़ा रहे हैं, अभी भी पढ़ा रहे हैं, फाइनेंस प्रोफेसर, फैकल्टी मेंबर्स, अभी भी no one is still talking about, even including myself, no, we are still not talking about the crypto part as much, although it has become kind of one of the asset category nowadays for whatever reason.
Right.
And even as a traditional student of finance and accounting, I'm still not comfortable, or I'm still not aware of why the hell is there a value in it, for example.
Sir, quite honestly, we people who are traditionally into finance do not quite understand what cryptocurrency is all about, including myself. Because quite honestly, मुझे सर एक बात बताइए, what is the intrinsic value of a Bitcoin? एक बिटकॉइन की इंट्रिंसिक वैल्यू क्या है? अब हमारा जो 100 रुपीज का नोट है, उस पे तो सरकार की बैकिंग है, दैट एज एन इंट्रिंसिक वैल्यू. एक कंपनी का शेयर है, दैट एज एन इंट्रिंसिक वैल्यू. व्हाट इज द इंट्रिंसिक वैल्यू ऑफ अ क्रिप्टो करेंसी? देयर इज नो गवर्नमेंट बैकिंग.
या
इट
बट अब
डिफाइज.
जैसे अभी, that's what I'm saying, but again, the problem is that it is still, like for example, अभी recently circle यहाँ पे यूएस में स्टेबल कॉइन इशू किया है, के लिए लेजिस्लेशन बना है. सर्कल करके एक कंपनी है जिसका शेयर जो अभी $40 का आईपीओ पे था, $250 पहुंच गया विद इन अ मंथ्स टाइम. एंड I'm still not I'm still don't know what the hell it is. What I'm trying to get to is, should we be including that now in the syllabus, and more importantly, how do we get the faculty members trained into it? Like,
सर
because
सिलेबस में
theoretically,
ऐड हो चुका है. रिसेंटली वी डिजाइन द सिलेबस फॉर 2023 बैच, और उसके अंदर हम लोगों ने एक सब्जेक्ट डाला है फॉर फाइनेंस स्टूडेंट्स, ब्लॉकचेन एंड क्रिप्टो करेंसी करके. देयर इज अ सिलेबस
या
कॉल्ड ब्लॉकचेन.
लेकिन फैकल्टी मेंबर्स भी तो ट्रेन नहीं है ना उसमें भाई.
फैकल्टी मेंबर्स सर हम लोगों ने
आपने
ट्रेन करने का अभी तक सोचा है. मतलब जिस तरीके से हम लोग अभी ट्रेन कर रहे हैं फैकल्टी मेंबर को ट्रेन करना पड़ेगा सर, लेकिन हम लोग उसके अंदर फाइनेंस बैकग्राउंड का टीचर नहीं देख रहे, आईटी बैकग्राउंड का टीचर देख रहे हैं. इट इज इजियर टू ट्रेन एन आईटी बैकग्राउंड टीचर फॉर फाइनेंस rather than training a finance background teacher into blockchain technology, quite honestly. किसी को ब्लॉकचेन समझ में आता हो, टेक्नोलॉजी समझ में आता हो, उसको फाइनेंस सिखा सकते हैं. फाइनेंस वाले को ब्लॉकचेन सिखाना मुश्किल है. तो राइट नाउ आईटी टीचर्स आर बीइंग ट्रेन्ड इनटू फाइनेंस. तो अभी तो शुरुआत है सर, बट यस इट इज एन एसेट क्लास. इट इज एन एसेट क्लास which is growing right now. But after 30 years, after 20 years, 30 years, whether it's going to exist, I still have my doubts on this. I still believe that it may only be a fad. It may exist. It may. सर अगर इतना नहीं होता तो इतनी volatility क्यों होती है उसके अंदर? It is highly volatile. कभी तो दे रहा है 200% रिटर्न, कभी उतना ही परसेंटेज से नीचे भी गिर जाता है. It is highly volatile. People, it is driven by demand and supply. Everyone knows that. Demand certainly is going to be more than it has been more than supply in the past. And that is without an intrinsic value, just like the tulip bubbles of Holland 200 years ago.
मेरे को आजकल
So
जो
much of demand without.
या to explain it to myself कि यार पी रेशियो आजकल 250 हो रहा है, 200 हो रहा है, 300 हो रहा है. It is really mind boggling to me. It's that's why I'm saying, like, how should we even bother about it, or should we just say no, it's too risky, or whatever you want to
पी
call it?
रेशो सर, आप 200-250 के पी रेशो को जस्टिफाई कर सकते हैं, प्रोवाइडेड द कंपनी हैज अ वेरी फास्ट ग्रोथ रेट. कंपनी का ग्रोथ रेट बहुत ज्यादा है तो 200 का पी रेशो जस्टिफाइड है, क्योंकि 5 साल के अंदर वो पी रेशो 20 पे पहुंच जाएगा अगर शेयर प्राइस नहीं ग्रो करता तो, है ना. लेकिन क्रिप्टो करेंसी को कैसे एक्टोन करोगे? उसका तो पी रेशो है, अर्निंग ही नहीं है, तो पी रेशो कैसे निकालोगे विदाउट एनी अर्निंग्स? इट्स नॉट अ शेयर ऑफ अ कंपनी, सो इट डजंट हैव एन अर्निंग.
Yeah, that's what I'm still surprised about. Like, why the hell people are paying for it? I mean,
Our surprise is mutual, sir. I'm also surprised about the same thing. I am not an investor into cryptocurrency, and I do
That's a
not
very
advise.
important point that Dr. Gaurav has brought, is the intrinsic value is not there,
It's not there.
So that is very important. Anybody who has a brain like you, Professor Sunil, or like Dr. Gaurav, would like to ask this question: what is the intrinsic value behind this? Where I'm investing, will I get it tomorrow back or not? So these are very important questions to be asked.
but problem is, अजय, कि यार तो आज से 10 साल पहले किसी ने कहा था $1000 डाल दो इसमें. वही उस समय भी ये सवाल था कि यार $1000 में वो पता नहीं कितने दे रहा था उस समय. तो जब पीछे देखते हो तो ना लगता तो है यार क्या बेवकूफी की है. मतलब इतना पढ़ा लिया, इतना पढ़ लिए खुद, मतलब 30-30 साल पढ़ लिए, और जो लोगों ने जिसमें $1000 डाल दिए वो साले वो $300-400 मिलियन का वो केले की बनी हुई पेंटिंग ले रहे हैं. It's stupid.
I want to share something with the forum. I was doing an assignment with Dasna jail. It is a jail of UP government beyond Noida in a place called Dasna. So I was doing a program for them. There I found 4 convicts who were in for a term of 20 years, which is equivalent to life term. In life sentence, 20 years is the term, and then they hang you. They were not to be hanged, but they were in for 20 years for crimes on cryptocurrency. Laws in India clearly state that anybody who's making a software or found selling or buying cryptocurrency is committing a crime against the state. And the trial is done and they are put in the jail. Their families were languishing, and very sophisticated people, very sophisticated people. I mean, you can't call them criminals by any means. Good looking, smart IT guys. And there was a batch of 3 people. Those 3 were directors in one of the companies in Noida who was developing a trading software for cryptocurrency, which is a product actually. And all were in the jail. So in India, it is very clear, I don't know how it is in US, that anybody found guilty of this act is found guilty of committing a crime against the state.
That's
And
very
punishments.
important point, Jan. That's very important point that you have brought in. And US is entirely different because President Trump is actually supporting that. So US could be different, but we need to understand that 2008-9 crisis, subprime crisis also started from US itself. So if anything is being supported by US, it doesn't mean that that is the best thing to be done. So we must apply our own brain and mind, what Gaurav said about intrinsic और underlying asset में उसका अपना वर्थ क्या है, वो important है उसमें जो है, तो वो देखना बहुत जरूरी है. It's very luring that some people earn a lot of money out of that and all that. Smuggling वाले भी बहुत कमाते हैं और बाकी भी बहुत पैसे कमा लेते हैं. So money earning is not the only thing that the criteria that finance professors should look at. We should look at the intrinsic value as well. That's a very important point. And thanks Dhyan for bringing it out that people are in jail just because they are participating in these kind of things in India.
I learned this lesson in the jail. That anything which is not a promissory note signed by RBI is not an Indian currency. I learned that in jail actually.
बात तो सही है सर.
Yeah, that's interesting क्योंकि यहाँ पे तो स्टेबल कॉइन का जैसे मैं बता रहा हूँ, that will be pegged against dollar or the gold now, and that will basically they will probably allow most of the bigger companies to issue their own stable coins.
सर अगर पेगिंग हो गई तो इंट्रिंसिक वैल्यू ऑटोमेटिकली आ गई. अगर पेगिंग हो गई तो
हाँ, पेगिंग तो हो रही है. स्टेबल कॉइन का जो लेजिस्लेशन अभी पास हुआ है उसमें पेगिंग हो रही है यूएस डॉलर या गोल्ड के अगेंस्ट 1 to 1. सो उसमें मुझे इतनी प्रॉब्लम नहीं है जितनी प्रॉब्लम मुझे ये जो बिटकॉइन हाँ, ये जो खाली जो बेसिकली जो एक सेट ऑफ कोड्स हैं,
बिल्कुल
एंड उसकी वैल्यू जो क्रिएट कर रखी है. लेकिन द इश्यू इज कि द नॉट ओनली मी, जैसे आप वो अजय कह रहे हैं कि ल्योर मत हो, वो ठीक है, वो सन्यासी बंदे हैं, वो छोड़ सकते हैं. लेकिन द रियलिटी इज कि आज की डेट में मैंने अगर $1,000 अगर डाले होते, आज मैं कम से कम $8-10 मिलियन का मालिक होता. whether I like it or not, or whether you like it or not, that's the reality.
ये बात सही है सर.
अब $8 मिलियन बैंक से निकलते हैं ना, वहां पकड़ जाते हैं. अब $8 मिलियन बैंक से निकलते हैं ना,
यहाँ पे
कैश तो कोई दिखे नहीं जाता आपको.
नहीं, यहाँ पे कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है
सर. मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि क्या होता तो वो तो हमारे कंट्रोल में नहीं है, लेकिन बेसिस ऑन द पास्ट, if someone asks me whether I should be investing into cryptocurrency now, I will certainly discourage. क्योंकि मुझे ऐसा लगता है पास्ट परफॉर्मेंस फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल इज नॉट द मिरर टू द फ्यूचर। वो जरूरी नहीं है फ्यूचर में रिफ्लेक्ट हो जाएगी, और हो सकता है कुछ टाइम तक ये फैट चलता भी रहे। अल्टीमेटली आई थिंक इट्स सम पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम, जैसे सर बता रहे थे ना कि पेगिंग, सम सर्टेन क्रिप्टो करेंसीज आर पेग्ड, या तो पेगिंग हो जाएगी तो वो करेंसी बन गई, फिर तो वो ट्रेडेबल है, फिर तो ट्रेड भी कर सकते हो आप उनके अंदर, पैसा भी, चलो वो तो कुछ वैल्यू आ गई ना, बिकॉज इट इज लिंक्ड टू अनदर करेंसी। बट फ्री फ्लोट क्रिप्टो करेंसी क्वाइट ऑनेस्टली मेरे को समझ में नहीं आता सर, क्यों काम कर रही है और क्यों काम करेंगी फ्यूचर के अंदर।
नहीं, लेकिन वो कह रहा हूं ना कि आजकल जैसे आप कह रहे थोड़े टाइम काम कर जाए, जो थोड़ा टाइम है ना, अगर आज 107 108 हजार का है, वो 200 250 हजार का प्रोडिक्शन है, तो वो थोड़ा टाइम में तो मतलब ये 200 हजार 250 हजार यहाँ तो 3 4 साल में पहुंच जाएगा ये, उस हिसाब से। तो
पहुंच सकता है
द
सर।
क्वेश्चन है, द क्वेश्चन फॉर फ्रॉम द स्टूडेंट्स पर्सपेक्टिव इज कि शुड आई इन्वेस्ट इन इट और नॉट, एंड शुड वी एज एन एजुकेटर टॉक अबाउट इट और नॉट।
सर
हम रिस्क रिटर्न की प्रोफाइल की बात करते हैं। भाई अगर कोई किसी स्टूडेंट को अगर ज्यादा रिस्क लेने की कैपेबिलिटी है तो हाँ जा भाई कर।
बिल्कुल सर, कर सकता है सर,
इंडिया
बहुत।
में नहीं, इंडिया में नहीं प्रोफेसर सुनील, इंडिया में नहीं, यूएस में आप बोल सकते हो।
सर अब इंडिया में भी
हाँ
डीक्रिमिनलाइज हो गया है, लेकिन उसमें बहुत हैवी टैक्स लगा दिया है सरकार ने, 30% टैक्स लगा दिया अर्निंग्स के
नो,
ऊपर।
टैक्सेशन इज डिफरेंट बॉल गेम ऑल टुगेदर। वो तो स्मगलिंग की इनकम पे भी टैक्स है।
हाँ
अभी जो ध्यान जी ने जो बताया
It
वो
is a
एक
crime.
दूसरा दूसरा एस्पेक्ट है ना
वो
उसका जो।
दूसरा एंगल है। जी जी सर।
हाँ,
For sure, it is a crime. It's not a
वो तो अलग
promissory
चीज है।
note released by RBI.
वो तो यहाँ भी गैम्बलिंग की इनकम पे आपको डिक्लेयर करनी पड़ती है। अगर
बिल्कुल
आप चोर भी हो तो चोरी की इनकम डिक्लेयर करनी पड़ती है। वो
बिल्कुल।
करे या ना करे वो बात अलग है, बट दैट्स देयर
Yeah, same way it
एनीवे।
happens in property also. मैंने मैंने एक फ्लैट खरीदा 18 लाख का, वो फ्लैट मैंने बेचा 1 करोड़ 80 लाख का। अब मेरे को अनरीजनेबल प्रॉफिट हुआ 5 साल में, 6 साल में, 8 7 साल में। मैं डिक्लेयर करूंगा, उसका टैक्स दूंगा और आगे चलूंगा। दैट इज फाइन, बट क्रिप्टो करेंसी इज इलीगल।
अच्छा, अभी इंडिया में
इन
इलीगल है?
इंडिया
बिल्कुल
में,
इलीगल।
इन इंडिया, या इन इंडिया, सो वी हैव टू वेरी क्लियर ऑन दिस। हम लोग 13 मिनट्स ऑलरेडी ओवरस्टेप कर गए हैं। 9 मिनट्स का एडवांटेज लिया था ध्यान जी ने जो है। सो वी कैन
गौरव जी, थैंक यू।
कंक्लूड नाउ।
थैंक यू थैंक यू
हाँ,
थैंक
हाँ।
यू सर, थैंक यू एवरीवन सर।
Now
वोट
I
ऑफ थैंक्स।
now I request Mr. Hardik Mehta to deliver a vote of thanks.
Good evening, everyone. It's my privilege and honor to deliver the vote of thanks on behalf of the Delhi School of Professional Studies and Research at the conclusion of this enriching 34th online interactive session on leadership development. First and foremost, I would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to our session speaker, Dr. Gaurav Talan, sir. And sir, your insights on leadership, your practical experiences, your inspiring words have given all of us a fresh perspective and a lot to reflect upon. Thank you for sharing your time, expertise, and wisdom with us today. We are also deeply thankful to our Honorable Chairman, Professor VP Singh, sir, Honorable our Senior Professor, Dr. Ajay Kumar Singh, sir, and our respective Director, Mr. Mahesh Sharma, sir, and respected Dhyan P.S. Chauhan, sir, for their constant support and visionary leadership that makes such session possible. A special thanks to our moderator for the day, Ms. Tanisha Tyagi. Tanisha, your confident and thoughtful coordination brought great energy and clarity to today's event. Well done. I extend my sincere thanks to all our faculty members for their presence and encouragement, and to our technical and organizing teams for ensuring the smooth execution of this session behind the scenes. To my fellow students and participants, thank you for showing up, engaging, and making this interaction meaningful. Your active participation is what truly brings life to these discussions. Lastly, thank you to DSPSR for continuously organizing such
No, I'm on a call.
interactive and purposeful events that prepare us for both
I'll call you back.
professional
Huh? I'm on a call.
excellence and personal growth. Thank you so much, sir.
थैंक यू।
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Gaurav. Very nice
थैंक
session. I really enjoyed it.
यू। थैंक यू।